What about those guys who raped that prisoner?
They were found to, they were not even indicted.
And Netanyahu posted a tweet like, we should not be condemning our heroes, celebrating our heroes. This is a tremendous, like, historic day or something like that.
Yeah. And they intentionally made sure that they weren't indicted. What they did is they had the victim and they had witnesses, and the witnesses either died or disappeared in prison or were released to Gaza. And then the military prosecution could say, oh, we don't have a witness, we don't have a victim, we can't prosecute them.
So that video where all those guys are lining up with their shields, the only reason they would have the shields is if they knew they were being videotaped, right?
Absolutely.
So I don't understand. Why would they do that knowing it's going to be on camera?
Because they were not concerned about paying any price for it. The process that we're seeing in Israel is a process we're seeing all around the world. You know, like the Russians are doing it, the Americans are now doing it, the Israelis are doing it. War crimes are cool again. You know, this isn't just an Israeli thing. I think it's very important to say that. Yeah, I criticize Israel a lot because I'm Israeli, but I see these things happening all around the world. Yeah, and by the way, regarding that incident, the only thing that makes it special in terms of the fact that you're talking about it now is that it was caught on tape.
Right.
From what I've talked to guards at that prison camp, and they said that's nothing compared to what they've seen. Like absolutely nothing. People were beaten to death and raped to death on more than one occasion.
Men and women?
No, there's only men in that camp.
They're doing this to men?
They're only doing this to men.
Oh my God.
There are women elsewhere, but the worst things are happening to men. And they would leave bodies out there to decompose next to the prisoner so that they would learn a lesson not to do these things again. You know, basically the assumption was, just to give some background on why this is happening or why it was happening. I think it's a little bit better now, not much.
So in that video with all the shields, that was a man they were molesting?
That was a man. And they inserted a baton a broom handle into his anus. Mm-hmm. And there's a doctor's report confirming that happened. And yeah, there's much worse cases. The reason we have that is A, there's video, and B, the prosecutor, who feels strongly, former prosecutor, that war crimes are bad, leaked it to the press. And then she was fired and she almost committed suicide. And there's rumors that there was attempts at foul play. There's a lot of things we don't know about what happened there.
I'm shocked it was a man. I mean, it's not I'm not saying it's like worse that it's a man. I mean, obviously it's terrible if it's a man or a woman, but like, why are these, I mean, so they're just like sodomizing this guy with foreign objects. They're not actually like raping him.
No. There have been cases of Palestinian prisoners testifying that they were raped, you know, sexually, directly with a penis and all that.
Right.
There are not documented cases because we don't have the pathology.
Right.
There's a lot of testimony to that effect. But in this, and dogs as well. There's testimony regarding dogs raping prisoners.
Dogs?
Yeah, dogs.
Wow.
The testimony claims, again, not verified, but several cases, dogs were trained to sexually assault.
Oh, they were trained to do it?
Those are the claims. I've heard enough of it that I believe it, but I can't confirm that. Yeah. And I just want to explain why this happened. This camp is where they put the Nukhba Hamas terrorists. These are the people who are suspected of having committed the worst crimes on October 7th. The trouble is, first of all, that doesn't justify any of this. The trouble is also, Israel isn't always able to identify who was in these organizations and who wasn't. No. And sometimes they just rounded everyone up who was in a certain area where there were people who were suspicious. Mm-hmm. So there have been almost no prosecutions of these people. Israel hasn't been able to prove that these people were actually involved in October 7th. Mm-hmm. And according to estimates from Israeli prosecutors, about 60% of them are innocent. So some of the people who were worst abused are people that Israel knew were involved in October 7th, but couldn't really prove it. But in some cases, it was just random anger at people who were there who they suspect of being parts of October 7th. And also, the worst of the worst in the Israeli military are put as guards in these camps, which is partially just how it is, because it's not a very high-skilled job, but also because the worst, most violent psychopaths want to have that job as well, because you can do whatever you want to these people. So a combination of all those circumstances created some of the worst torture camps imaginable. And that's really what turned me against my country, was talking to people who were stationed there.